Hey guys, if you enjoy this video, please like and subscribe. Thank you. Today we're going to be adjusting the valves on an Allis Chalmers WD. First thing you're going to want to do is take off, there's two bolts this side. I already removed them. Then there's two bolts on this side. We want to remove those. Next you're going to want to take off your muffler. It might have a set screw right down there. Mine does not. My muffler is just resting in the exhaust manifold, so I can just pull it right off. Then you're going to want to take off your prairie cleaner here. Oh, there we go. Then that part will come off. All in one assembly here. Now there is a band on the back side right here that you might need to loosen up. You might be able to just slide it out. So we'll try the sliding out method first. I think we're going to have to take that band off. Alright, so the screw is right here. Just a flathead, and it's probably pretty stuck, so I'm going to try spraying it down with some PB Blaster. You're going to want to take your hood off after you loosen up that band in the back. So just kind of wiggle the band back and you should be able to just lift it right off. Alright, now we got the valve cover, and looks like we got some 9/16 nuts. Alright, next we're going to want to pry the valve cover off. Alright, so now I was able to pull up these little rubber grommets around the threads. Alright, so now we're going to want to set our clearances for the rockers here, for the valves. And the clearance is 12 thousandths hot. The engine is not hot, it's cold, but I'm just going to get a ballpark and then start it up. Once it's been running for a while, or a little bit, you know, to get everything warmed up, then we'll come back and set it while it's hot. Turn the engine by hand and watch your intake and exhaust for when they're both, like the intake just came up on this one. So I cranked a little bit over so it's on the compression stroke. And so now these should both be loose, and now we can set the valves for that one. So now you want to take your 12 thousandths feeler gauge and just kind of run it in between the top of the rocker arm and the valve, and it should have just a slight amount of drag. So this one could be tightened up a little bit, and that one feels really good. So we're going to tighten up this one just a hair. Alright, so next you're going to want your 9/16 wrench. And then you'll just hold the little flathead screw on top and loosen the jam nut. Oh wow, that is tight. Okay, so now that's loose. Take your feeler gauge and then just turn the flathead till you feel some resistance. Like right about there, that feels pretty good. So then you're going to want to hold the flathead with the screwdriver, and then turn your jam nut back. And then once it's all tight, you want to double check, make sure it didn't over tighten on you. In that case it didn't, and that feels pretty good. So next we're going to move on to the next cylinder here. So the intake just came up on that. So now these are both loose. So we'll take our 12 thousandths feeler gauge, we'll do the same thing. Now the intake on this one is quite tight. I can't even get the 12 in there, so we're going to have to loosen that one up a little bit. And we'll double check it. That feels good. Now one thing you can do to see if it's too loose or not is if you slide it in there and there feels like there's not much resistance, you can see if you can wiggle the rocker arm and you'll be able to feel it in the feeler gauge. It'll kind of have a little vibration. Which in this one I can feel that, so this one's a little too loose. We're going to have to tighten this one up. Yeah, there's still a little bit play in that, so we're going to have to readjust it. That feels just about perfect. Then we'll check it again. That feels good. All right. Now we got all the valves adjusted. So I think what we're going to do is put the valve cover back on. I'm not going to put the new gasket on yet. It might leak a little bit, but that's just to get it up to temperature. Then we'll reset all the valves once they're warm. And then after that's done, we'll put the filter, the new valve cover gasket on and get the bolts down, torqued to spec. Alright, so I got the valve cover back on. Now I just got to put on these nuts. Alright, now I think we can start this bad boy up, and we'll get it up to operating temperature, and then we'll shut it off, pull the valve cover again, and then check the valve clearances once it's hot. Alright, we'll let that run for a little bit. We got it up to temperature. Now we're going to go back and recheck all of our valves. And now the engine belt doesn't want to turn the engine. Now in this case, I can just put it into gear and spin the back tire. This cylinder should be closed up. That should be top dead center. Now we can check our clearances. That one feels good. This exhaust is a little tight, so we're going to loosen that one up. Perfect. So right now I'm gonna get this started. I'm just gonna leave the valve cover off, just visually inspect the rockers, see what they look like while it's running, make sure everything's moving correctly. Then I think it's time, once everything looks okay and everything's good, we can put the valve cover back on and seal it up. Well, everything seemed to work out pretty good. It's still kind of popping though, that's why I was adjusting the valves. I'm wondering maybe I got a burnt valve or something, but that will have to be for another video.